Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adrielle, and I am currently narrating a story of my life dating back from January 2016. In a previous episode, I talked about how there was a police officer at my front door, and in this episode, I'm just going to talk about what happened at that point and for the rest of the afternoon. So, here it goes. So I'm at the door, y'all. I slightly opened it and I see a police uniform, badge, and a gun. And I'm startled. Startled, but he looks at me and say, "Oh, I didn't mean to scare you." So I just opened the door like fully. And then I see Pepper next to the police officer. So I'm like, what in the world? What in the world is going on? So I say, hello. She was like, hello. She had a paper on her hand and she says, yeah, your rent is past due. Have you made any arrangements to make payments and stuff like that? So I was surprised because I just had a Zoom meeting with this woman a couple weeks ago concerning my rental assistance. So why is she knocking on my door with a police officer asking for rent money, basically? So I'm looking at her and I say, I have rental assistance. She's like, with who? With the county. Then she was like, what's the name of the rental assistance? And I told her. And now I'm confused as to why she's asking me about this rental assistance, y'all. This lady was on the Zoom call with me. I'm like, what? So she was like, okay. So she leaves and goes to, I guess, another unit. So apparently, what she was doing, y'all, was knocking on people's doors with the police officer asking for rent money. And I'm just like, what is going on? So I, shut the door, locked the door, and I'm just shocked. I'm shocked and I'm pissed off at the same time because it's like, why are you knocking at my door asking for rent money with a police officer? I've never experienced that from any of the places I've lived in Atlanta. And plus, there was never an email asking for rent. There was nothing, there was like no notification like, hey, we're going to knock on your door and ask for rent money or whatever. So I was annoyed, and I was annoyed that she couldn't remember about the rental assistance. So now I'm thinking that I'm kind of messed up at this point because if she's knocking at my door asking for rent money and she doesn't remember the rental assistance, I don't know. I just feel like the situation was messy. So I just decided that okay, I am gonna go to the leasing office and have a discussion with her because if she forgot about the rental assistance, then I'm kind of like not in a good space or not in a good space as far as my stay in this apartment. So I remember just like fidgeting. I'm just fidgeting and I go into my phone. I said, okay, I know the lady, the mediator, told me that it's going to take a while to get the funds. At this point, y'all, it was almost about 3 weeks since we had the meeting. So I'm like, okay, now I kind of need to get this funds. So I try to go to the website to see like a status update of my application, and it just said submitted, right? So I don't even know why, but I decided to go to my account for Georgia Power because the rental assistance was going to cover my rent and my utility bill as well. Go into my Georgia Power account, y'all. My Georgia Power bill was paid off August 2nd. So I see that. I'm like, okay, Georgia Power already got the funds from the county. How come, Hidden Valley hasn't gotten their funds yet? So now I'm kind of confused. So I'm like, maybe there's some type of mix up or whatever. I really did not feel comfortable with the idea of her knocking at my door with a police officer. I was so scared. Like, to be honest, y'all, what I really thought happened was something happened on my apartment building on my floor. And they probably said, yeah, it's coming from apartment 16. I really thought something bad happened and they try to pin it on me, like some type of wrong identity stuff going on. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that she came to my door with the police officer. So it was like after 4. I said, you know what? Let me go to the leasing office so I can have a discussion with her because she needs to remember about this rental assistance. So I go into the leasing office. It's like 4:20 ish. Now, like I said, she was going around the buildings, knocking on people's door with this officer, asking people for rent money. So I was waiting for her to be done, and the leasing office closed at 6 o'clock. So I'm there, and there's another girl there as well. So I'm there probably up until almost to 5. So I know the whole wait was like 40 minutes and some change or something like that. So I remember sitting there. She gets in with the police officer and she calls the girl up to come into her office. So she was there for a while. So she was there. And after the girl was done, I'm like, okay, now she can see me. So she comes to me and she says, do you have an appointment? I said, no. She said, well, you have to book an appointment. Y'all, I've never lived in an apartment where you had to book an appointment in order to see a manager or an assistant manager or whatever. So in my head, I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? I go back into my apartment and I'm looking at my account balance, y'all. I had a negative balance on my account. So I didn't even have any money at all. So I called my mom, told her what happened, and she was shocked. She was shocked that someone that worked in management for the complex would, knock at my door with a police officer. So, and I was even telling her how I didn't even have any money at all. I had a negative balance because I had a charge from my account that I was supposed to cancel a while ago, but my account was charged and I was going to file a claim for that. But even though I still had no money, and I think I had to get groceries, y'all, this was when things became very tight with me when it came to like home essentials, groceries, and like my basic needs, y'all. There were times where I just wouldn't have money, y'all, to afford like bread, egg, and butter. When my mom came to visit me in the beginning of August for my birthday, she did grocery shopping for me, but it got to a point where I ran out of things, like simple things like body wash and stuff like that. Those things started to become a hassle for me to get because I didn't have any money. So I remember telling my mom about the negative balance, and she said she was going to send me money. And she also advised me, don't forget to file that claim. And so, which I did. I remember when I went into my apartment, I decided to book an appointment with this assistant management, which I thought was very silly, but I did it because I needed to rectify this whole rental assistance thing. So I booked the appointment for the next day, which was August 18th, and it was for like 10 a.m. or 10:30 ish. So I booked the appointment. I go and see her. Actually, right before I go and see her, I pulled up the court order documents that we signed because I saved a copy on my phone. So I'm like, yo, if she forgot, let me just bring this up on my phone to like refresh her memory so she can remember and stuff like that. So I go into the meeting and I say, hi, that, you came to my apartment yesterday um, and asking about the rent, and I informed you about the rental assistance, and it seemed like you couldn't remember. So I pulled up my phone, y'all, and I pulled up the court order. I was like, this is it. She just looked at me. She says, I have it. I know what it is. So now I'm looking at her like, if you know what it is, why did you ask me? And the way she was just looking at me, it was so weird, y'all. The look that she was giving to me, I didn't get it. So she's like, "Oh no, I have it. Yeah, I have it. I don't have to see it. Like I have it." I'm like, "Okay." So here's the thing, y'all. The mediator told her and told me as well that they couldn't come after me. Now here's the thing. They didn't come after me legally, but her coming to my apartment, knocking on my door, asking for rent money with the police officer, y'all, I did not like it and I wanted to address it. So I said that, well, okay, I have to contact the mediator because they said that you can't come after me. And she was like, we didn't come after you. I said, excuse me, ma'am, you knocked on my door with the police officer. Man, that's a courtesy officer. That's an officer for the apartment complex. How am I supposed to know that? That we didn't come after you. She had this attitude. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay. I said, well, the lady said the funds was gonna take a while. And she's like, I know. Like she had this attitude. So I got up and I was like, okay, have a nice day. I'm like, I am not dealing with this lady. I already knew something was off for her with the whole meeting, coming in late, signing the documents late. Something was off. So I was like, okay, you know what? I need to pray because the way things are going, I don't trust how this woman is operating when it comes to this whole rental assistance thing. So that was what happened on August 18th. Also, after that meeting, I do want to mention this. After that meeting, y'all, I became overwhelmed. I became overwhelmed with the state of my rental assistance and I became overwhelmed with the state of my finances. Like I said, um, buying this basic stuff became very, very hard for me. It was like a obstacle, and I'm like, I can't live this way. I really can't live this way. I don't know what to do. Like God, what is happening? I remember watching a video, and I probably mentioned this girl. I know I did. I mentioned this girl back in my Atlanta season. How God told her to move from LA to ATL, and she was talking about what the stuff she was going through month to month. And I remember just watching her video for encouragement because I really didn't know what to do. So I started watching her video, and I get a notification from YouVersion about asking God for provision, like praying for provision. So I remember just praying to God for provision and yeah, praying to God for provision. My mom sends the money and August 19th, y'all, I get reimbursed the money from my account. So that was great. That was really great for me. But that rental assistance, y'all, that was really, really, really bothering me. August 24th to the 25th. Like I said, I was dwelling on my situation. I thought to read the story of Joseph in the book of Genesis. So I started reading the story of Joseph in the book of Genesis. And I think it's interesting that Joseph's story starts Genesis 37, y'all. So, anyways, I'm reading Joseph's story, and I started to see some similarities between what I was going through and what Joseph had went through too as well. It seemed like everything he went through was contrary to the dreams that God gave him. And that was what I was going through. God revealed Brandon to me as my spouse. He gets back with Caitlin. God reveals London to me. I'm broke, unemployed. So it was like everything I was going through was contrary to the revelation I got from God. And it brought me to Psalms 105 with the emphasis of verse 19, which is until the time came to fulfill his dreams, the Lord tested Joseph's character. And that is one of the reasons why I do believe God puts a person in the wilderness to test their character, to test their faith, to test their obedience, to test their love towards God. I honestly do believe that. Now, this was a scripture that new pastor has highlighted in one of his sermons before, and I just remembered it and I went back to Psalms 105. But I do believe at that time God was using money or my lack of money to really prune me and to test me like, hey, are you influenced by money? Does money have your heart? Because if money has your heart, you're going to do anything for money. So I'm like, okay, Lord, if you're testing my character, testing my heart, testing my perspective, testing my love for material things, for money, I'm fine. But Lord, just let me have enough so I don't struggle. you know? But so yeah, it was a good thing that I was able to get that wisdom and knowledge from the word of God. So I'm laying in bed, reading about Joseph, I get a notification from my bank. My mom sells me money again. So I'm like, what? So I reached out to her. I was like, hey, mom, thank you so much. She said, hey, yeah, this money, this was money that I got from such and such. I just decided to give it to you. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. So I was like, okay, Lord, okay, okay, you're making provision for me. Okay, all this handouts that I'm getting from my mom is like manna for me in the wilderness. Okay, Lord, thank you. But I kind of want to get my own job. But hey, let me not complain. Let me not complain. Let me be grateful that he's looking out for me and he's providing for me. Because that was a prayer that I had the week before. With that money, that I was able to service my car. I was actually able to get like a very good deal with their specials when it came to servicing. And yeah, so that was the end of August. A recap: my rent, y'all. So at this time, my late fee was still on my account. I don't know why. I told the leasing consultant to tell Pepper to get that off of my account, but Pepper is busy knocking on my door with the police officer. No jobs at this point. I haven't heard from London about the coding assessment. My neighbors, at this point, I was like, yo, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if they're in there or not. I just don't know. Brandon, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Brandon. Um, the last thing I knew, he was in Oklahoma. So, yeah, that was pretty much the month of August. Now, I did have a dream, and I do want to talk about that dream because I had a previous dream back in 2019 that I didn't mention, and I kind of want to talk about those two dreams in my next video. So, if you're liking an unlikely story, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.